Well, Adam, 1-1 draw with Brackley Town. That was a cruel ending.
It was. Saw the other side of the coin to what we experienced on Saturday, didn't we? Saturday it was us who scored late and got a deserved point. And to be fair to them, tonight they've scored and I think they deserve the point. They're a good side. I thought it was a scrappy game, but I thought it was a good game. Two really organised, physical, competitive sides that had that little bit of quality as well when they could. I think both teams had other opportunities throughout the game. We've had a good one with Jimmy there when he's gone through one-on-one at 1-0, and that's the game done if that goes in. But I thought it was a really good performance by us. They're a top side, they finished third 2 years in a row. They won the trophy a few years ago. They're a really good side, really experienced, got good players. So it's not a bad point for us, but it feels like a bad one because of the nature of obviously their goal. But it's one that we won't be too deflated by and take the positives into the next game.
Does it feel like 2 points shop tonight?
I think it does when you're so close to getting the win. But as I said, we've pinched a late point at Hereford, although I felt we deserved that on Saturday. So it swings and roundabouts, but I think we've got to just sometimes put the brakes on and take stock of the kind of quality that we're up against. We've gone to Hereford on Saturday and got a very credible 1-1 draw, played really well, and then I think we've put in a really organised and solid, gritty performance tonight and got another point against another very good, experienced side at this level. So yes, it would have been great to have won it, but we're not going to be too down about it either.
You made 2 changes to the starting 11 tonight from the previous game. One of those, Akil Francis. Were you impressed with his performance tonight?
Yeah, and Dave. Thought the pair of them, they came into the team. I knew that tonight's game was going to be a different kind of game to what we had on the weekend. So we changed personnel. We knew it would be a bit more of a physical contest tonight, and obviously the pitch is obviously not the greatest, so it tends to become a bit more of a battle, and second ball's important, the ball's in the air a lot, set plays. So I wanted that little bit of extra presence and experience in there with Dave, and Akil, he gave us that threat of pace in behind throughout the game, which was good, and I felt both of them played particularly well.
Yeah, replaced Francis late on in the game for a new signing, Regan. Some may say that was a bold move. A lot of fans didn't seem too happy about that.
I'm not bothered if they're happy or not. Most decisions that we've made in the last 2.5 years have seen them have plenty of good times. So if they're not happy with one decision, then that's fair enough. I'll take that on the chin. But Matty's a top player. I signed him at Northwich from Hensford. He's a really good, solid player, great lad, fit right into the dressing room, and he can play in a number of positions. Left-sided centre half is his preferred position, but he can play at left back, wing back, central midfield. He's strong, good in the tackle, good in the air, good on the ball, and he's not had a lot of game time at Curzon of late, so it'd be harsh for us to throw him straight into games, certainly without having trained with us, but gives us options, more competition for places, and we just felt they were getting on top. I know we had 1 or 2 opportunities in that last 10-15 minutes on the break where we could have wrapped it up, but they were getting on top, and they were using the width of the pitch particularly well, getting the full-backs into the final third, putting a lot of crosses in the box, and whilst we managed to defend that pretty well, we wanted to just flatten off our midfield 4 and just give a little bit of support in front of the full-backs, and I felt it worked. It's come from our own kick. Kyle's held his hand up in there. It's a restart. We're loaded up on their left back, and he's duffed it to the other side. They've headed it. They're out, and they score, and that's not good enough. But it's a good point in the end.
After tonight's game, though, you still haven't won in any of your last 6 league games since the start of October. How do you look to turn that form around?
Just keep working hard, keep performing. I think we've only lost 1 in 5, though, which is a more positive spin to put on it. But I suppose your questions are better, aren't they, for people that are listening? If you ask me the negative ones, we've got to remember where we are. Who we are, where we're at. We've played we've played some good clubs. You know, I think the only defeat in that last 5 games is against Boston, and they might be playing Newcastle in a couple of weeks. You know, so we've had a draw against Gloucester. We drew against Hereford away. We've obviously drawn here tonight against Brackley, a good side. Beat Workington away in the cup. There's no panics. You know, yeah, we'd love to be winning more games, but I think we just spoilt you in September really, and we're now probably in the recent weeks we've had a few things go against us. We've maybe not been as ruthless as we could have been, and we've made errors which we've been punished for. But in the main, you know, I stand by. I think our only really disappointing performance in the last, you know, probably 6 weeks is the one at Blythe. And whilst we haven't been getting the results, I can't really ask much more of the players. You know, as long as they keep giving their all, we'll turn the corner.
And of course you go away to Telford this Saturday. Their side that seem to be struggling at the bottom end of the table. So are you expecting 3 points this Saturday?
I expect 3 points every Saturday, but it don't mean we're going to get them. You know, Telford, they've probably struggled for consistency really, because they've had some really good results, and they've had some, you know, some ones that you look at and you think didn't see that coming. But they've got some good players, and they're another big club. You know, we obviously played them last year in the trophy when we were a league below. We gave them a right old game, and I think when you go away from home in this league, certainly to a club the size of them, they're the favourites, and for us it's, you know, it's a case of one, we've got to go there, make a good account of ourselves, have a plan in place, and try and execute it. And I always have confidence that if we can put in the effort levels that we have tonight, and be good in both boxes, that we can win games, and that's exactly what we'll be going there to do.
And how important is it to get the 3 points, start building up points, especially heading into this busy festive period?
Well, it's always important to get 3 points. You know. We don't set out to not get 3 points in any game, but we've just got to be mindful of who we are. I know I keep saying it, but we're in a tough league here, a really tough league. We're playing against some really, you know, big clubs with bigger resources than us, a lot of experience at this level, and sometimes we've got to be pragmatic in the way that we approach games, the way in which we set up in games. And whilst that might not always be the best on the eye, it's proven that it's the best way for us to get results. You know, I think we're at 28 points now after, I think it's 19 games. You know, I think if we can get another 10 points, we'll be nearly home and dry in terms of staying in this league. And to say we were favourites to go down, that would be an unbelievable achievement. But of course, Saturday's our next game. It's our first opportunity to get back to winning ways, and that's exactly what we'll be going there to do.
And finally, I spoke to Elliot before today's game. Of course, picked up an injury, weight Workington the other week. Have you got an update on him? Do you know when he's likely to be back?
I think he's a couple of weeks. Yeah, I think he's probably earmarking the Altrincham game for obvious reasons. You know, it's his old club, and he'll want to play in that game if he can. But you know, at the same time, it's a massive game for us, and we've just got to follow, you know, the guidance of Gasher really on that. But he's not too bad, but he's not going to be anywhere near for this weekend or the Halifax game.